The hall of the United Earth Embassy shimmered with soft lights and calm music. It was supposed to be a historic day, the first peaceful meeting between humankind and the Velorans, a proud alien race from the distant star Valora 9. Cameras floated around like silver fireflies, recording every word, every handshake, every smile. Diplomats in fine suits whispered rehearsed greetings. The aliens, tall and graceful with smooth blue skin and glowing silver eyes, stood at the center of it all. Their leader, Ambassador Threx, was not just any diplomat. Among his people, he was known as the Keeper of Histories. He had studied every war, every alliance, every danger recorded in Veloran memory. His voice was deep and calm, and when he spoke, even humans felt a strange respect. He was proud to be here, on Earth, among a young species full of potential. The humans were raw, emotional, and unpredictable, but they carried something the Velorans had not seen in centuries. Curiosity mixed with hope. Threx believed this meeting would mark the beginning of a long friendship, and it might have. If not for the little girl with the notebook. Her name was Mia Carter, only 7 years old. She had come with her mother, Dr. Elaine Carter, a linguist helping the aliens learn human speech patterns. Mia was small, quiet, and curious. She had big brown eyes and a habit of carrying her sketchbook everywhere she went. While her mother worked, Mia liked to sit in the corner and draw. She didn't talk much, but when she drew, her whole world seemed to come alive on paper. No one paid much attention to her that day. The adults were busy shaking hands, smiling for cameras, and making speeches about peace and understanding. But while the humans talked about unity and the aliens discussed trade routes, Mia was drawing. Her tiny hands moved quickly, her tongue between her teeth as she focused. Lines became shapes, shapes became figures. Her pencil scratched softly, steady and confident. Ambassador Threx noticed her by accident. He had just finished giving a speech about the future of interstellar cooperation when his translator device glitched for a moment. As he adjusted it, his eyes fell upon the small human child sitting cross-legged on the floor, her notebook open. For a moment, he simply watched. He had always admired the human young, their innocence, their creativity. On Valora 9, children were rarely seen in formal meetings. It was refreshing to see how freely humans allowed their young to be part of such important moments. Curious, Threx took a step closer. The child didn't notice him. Her small hand kept moving across the page. He bent slightly, the light from his silver eyes reflecting off the paper. And then he froze. What he saw was not the simple doodle of a child. It was a battlefield. On one side, he saw creatures with long, curved armor, claws like blades, and eyes that burned with a deep red glow. They towered over broken ships, their shapes too familiar, too exact. Threx's breath caught in his throat. He had seen those shapes before. In the Forbidden Archives, in nightmares, in history lessons that no one dared speak of aloud. He turned the page carefully. Another drawing. This one of a planet breaking apart, oceans boiling, skies filled with fire. And in the corner, symbols. Not human letters, not random shapes, symbols of the Sigroth, the ancient enemies of his kind. Threx's voice trembled when he spoke. "Child," he said softly, where did you see this?" Mia looked up at him with wide, innocent eyes. "Nowhere," she said. "I just drew it." He knelt beside her, his tall shadow covering her notebook. "Who told you about these shapes?" "No one." She tilted her head. "They just come in my dreams." Threx stood up too quickly. The other Velorans nearby noticed his reaction. His calm mask was gone, replaced by something his kind rarely showed. Fear. "Mia." Her mother called, rushing over. "Is everything okay, Ambassador?" Threx didn't answer. He turned to his second-in-command, whispering in their native tongue. The other alien's eyes widened as he saw the sketches. Within moments, 2 guards stepped forward, blocking the humans from getting closer. "What's going on?" Dr. Carter demanded. Threx pointed at the drawing. His voice was sharp, tense. "These shapes, these beings, how does this human child know of them?" Dr. Carter looked confused. "They're just drawings. She loves monsters and space battles. She makes them up." Threx shook his head slowly. "No, these are not from imagination." His voice lowered to a whisper. "These are memories. Lost memories of the Veloran War. The Sigroth should not exist." The room went silent. Mia looked from one adult to another, not understanding the sudden tension. She held up her notebook. Do you like them? She asked shyly. I call them the shadow ones. Threx stared at the page again. His hands trembled. That was their name, he murmured. In our oldest records, the shadow ones of Riven's End. Outside the embassy window, the night sky shimmered with stars, calm, beautiful, unaware. Inside, the air felt heavy, charged with something dark and ancient. For the first time since arriving on Earth, Ambassador Threx wished he had stayed far away. He looked at the child again, his voice barely audible. Your world is not ready for what you have drawn, he said. And in that moment, everyone in the room, human and alien alike, felt a chill run down their spines. The room was still sealed. The humans were confused. The aliens were afraid. And little Mia sat quietly on the floor, holding her sketchbook, her small fingers smudged with pencil dust. Ambassador Threx stood near the center, motionless, his silver eyes locked on the child's drawings. Around him, the other Valorans whispered in their own language, low, fast, and filled with fear. Dr. Elaine Carter tried to speak, but the sound of the alien guard's weapons powering up silenced her. The hum was low and sharp, like the buzz of angry insects. Please, she said carefully. My daughter hasn't done anything wrong. Threx didn't look at her. His gaze stayed on the paper. She has drawn what no human should know, he said quietly. These creatures, these symbols, belong to a time before your species existed. The human officers exchanged puzzled looks. Are you saying she copied them from your records? One asked. Threx shook his head slowly. No, these records were erased. Not even our youngest remember them, and yet, she has drawn them exactly. He turned to one of his aides, Commander Silent, who was visibly shaken. Do you recognize this pattern? Threx asked, pointing to a circular mark drawn beneath one of the monsters. Silent hesitated, then nodded. It is the mark of the Seagroth war sigil, he whispered. The symbol of destruction. The humans looked lost. Who are the Seagroth? Dr. Carter asked. For a moment, no one answered. Then Threx spoke, his deep voice trembling slightly. Something no human had ever heard from a Valoran. They were our enemies. Our shadows. A species born not of light, but of hunger. They destroyed half our empire before they vanished. He paused, as if remembering something painful. We called them the Devourers of Suns. Mia tilted her head. They don't like light, she said softly. Everyone turned toward her. What did you say, child? Threx asked. They told me that in my dreams, she murmured. They said the light hurts their eyes. They live where the stars die. Threx's hand clenched at his side. They speak to you. Mia nodded slowly, innocent and calm. Sometimes. They whisper while I draw. They show me pictures so I know what to make. Her mother's face went pale. Mia, that's just your imagination. But Threx didn't believe that. His mind raced. No imagination could recreate what had been buried in secret archives locked for 12,000 cycles. No one alive had seen the Seagroth and survived. If the girl saw them in dreams, then either the Seagroth still existed, or something worse had awakened. Threx moved closer to her, lowering himself until his silver eyes met her brown ones. What else do they show you, little one? Mia's gaze drifted away. She flipped a page in her sketchbook. There was a new drawing, unfinished, and black shapes surrounding a bright sphere. A sun shrinking. They show me this place, she whispered. They say it's where they sleep. Threx recognized the star's pattern. He had seen it once before, in the maps of old wars. It was the system once called Riven's End, a dead battlefield where the final war against the Seagroth had taken place. He felt the blood drain. From his face, that system was supposed to be silent, empty, destroyed. He turned sharply to Commander Silent. We must contact the Council, he said. Now, the humans protested. Ambassador, please, Dr. Carter shouted. She's just a child. Threx looked at her, and for the first time there was sorrow in his eyes. You do not understand. Your daughter is not the cause of this. She is the signal. He gestured to the notebook. They are reaching through her mind. Somehow she can see across the void. The Seagroth are using her dreams to speak again. The air in the room felt heavy, as if the walls themselves were listening. Mia looked up. Are they bad? Threx hesitated. They were the worst thing to ever live, he said softly. They did not conquer for power or pride. They destroyed because they could. They fed on fear, on life, on everything. The little girl blinked, trying to understand. Then why do they sound so sad? Threx froze. Sad? She nodded. They say they were left behind. They say the blue people burned their world and forgot them. The color drained from the ambassador's face. In that moment, the truth hit him harder than any weapon could. The Seagroth hadn't been destroyed. They had been abandoned, trapped in a dying system, starved, forgotten. And now, through this child's strange human mind, they were remembering their pain. Threx stepped back, whispering in Valoran. By the stars, we created our own ghosts. The other aliens muttered prayers, terrified. One of the human officers approached. Ambassador, we need to understand what this means. Threx turned, his voice firm but filled with dread. It means the past is not dead. It has only been sleeping. He looked at Mia again, and your child doctor has become their dream catcher. Silence fell. Mia, still unaware of the storm she had caused, closed her notebook and smiled shyly. I can draw more if you want, she said. They're showing me something new. Threx took a step back. His heart pounded. No, he said quietly. Do not draw. Not again. But Mia was already opening her book. Her small hand began to move. Black lines spread across the page, forming a giant circle of stars, and in the center a symbol glowing faintly red. When Threx saw it, his voice failed him. It was the calling mark, the ancient beacon used by the Seagroth to summon their fleets. And now, drawn by the hand of a human child? It had returned. They took Mia that same night. The decision came fast. Too fast for the humans to argue. The Velorans claimed it was for safety, but no one could tell whose safety they meant, the girls or the galaxies. Dr. Elaine Carter screamed and fought as her daughter was carried into a silver chamber deep under the embassy. She's just a child, she cried. She doesn't understand. Ambassador Threx didn't meet her eyes. His heart felt heavy, but his mind whispered what his duty demanded. If the Seagroth had found a voice through this child, the entire universe was in danger. Mia sat calmly inside a glowing circle drawn on the floor, a mix of alien symbols and human protection seals. Her sketchbook lay on a table closed, but every Veloran kept glancing at it as if it were a weapon. Inside the chamber, the air hummed softly. Machines surrounded the girl, scanning her mind, her pulse, her dreams. A team of human scientists and Veloran telepaths worked side by side, the first joint experiment between their races. But none of them were smiling. Threx stood behind the glass wall, watching. Begin the scan, he ordered. Dr. Rice, a human neurologist, adjusted the sensors on Mia's head. Mia, sweetheart, he said gently, you might see some lights. Don't be scared. I'm not scared, Mia said. They're already here. Everyone in the room froze. Dr. Rice frowned. Who's here, Mia? She smiled softly. The ones you can't see unless you close your eyes. As the scan began, the machines flickered wildly. Symbols appeared across the screens, unknown patterns pulsing in rhythm with her heartbeat. One of the Veloran telepaths, Silen, gasped. These are not human brainwaves, he said. They're broadcasting. Something. Broadcasting. Threx repeated. Yes, Silen whispered. Her thoughts are sending out a signal, through dimensions we can't measure. The alien turned pale. It's like an echo calling to the void. Threx felt a chill crawl down his spine. And what if the void answers? Then Mia's eyes rolled back. She started speaking softly, but not in English. Not in any language known to humans. The Velorans froze as the translator struggled to keep up. The machine hissed, producing broken words. Stars, burned too bright. We remember. We return, Silen fell to his knees. It's the ancient Seagroth tongue, he whispered. No one has heard it for millennia. Dr. Rice stared in shock. You mean she's speaking? Their language? Threx's voice was cold. No, they are speaking through her. Suddenly, the lights dimmed. The glass separating them began to frost as if something cold had entered the room. Mia's small hands lifted into the air. Her voice deepened, layered, echoing with something not human. You left us in the dark. You burned our skies. You forgot us. But we did not forget you. The machine screamed with static. The telepaths clutched their heads, some collapsing as alien whispers filled their minds. Dr. Rice shouted, "Cut the power!" But Threx raised a hand. No, let it continue. He needed to know how much the Seagroth remembered. How close they were. Mia's body trembled. Her skin glowed faintly like moonlight through water. Then, silence. The lights flickered back. The glass cleared. Mia opened her eyes. They weren't brown anymore. They were silver, just like the Valorans, Ambassador Threx, she said in a calm adult voice. Do you remember Riven's End? Every Valoran in the room froze. How? Threx's voice broke. How do you know that name? Her lips curved into a sad smile. Because that is where you left us to die. Threx felt his chest tighten. His people had destroyed Riven's End, burning the last Sigroth fleet and sealing their system behind a gravity storm. It was supposed to be mercy to end the war forever. Now that mercy had become a curse. They're awake, aren't they? Threx whispered. Mia nodded slowly. Not yet. But they are stirring. They dream of light again. They dream of revenge. Dr. Carter burst into the chamber, pushing past the guards. Mia! She cried, kneeling beside her daughter. Honey, look at me. Mia blinked. Her eyes turned brown again and she looked confused. Mom, why are you crying? Elaine hugged her tightly, sobbing. Because you scared me, baby. You scared all of us. Threx turned to the scientists. What did the readings show? Dr. Rice's face was pale. Her brain activity. It's not just human. It's synchronized with something far beyond our range. When she speaks their words, her mind connects to signals outside known space. Outside? Yes, he said shakily. Somewhere near the dead system, Riven's End. Threx felt the floor tilt beneath him. The Sigroth weren't gone. They were waiting for a voice. And now they had found one in this child. That night, Threx couldn't sleep. He stood by the viewing window, watching Earth's moon glow softly against the dark. His aide, Silen, joined him. What will you do? Threx didn't answer for a long moment. Finally, he said, We will send scouts quietly to Riven's End. If they still exist, we must know. And the child? Threx looked back at the chamber where Mia slept under guard. Her small face was peaceful, innocent, unaware that her dreams were shaking worlds. She is both a warning and a weapon, Threx said softly. I just don't know which one yet. As dawn touched the horizon, Mia stirred in her sleep. Her hand twitched as if holding an invisible pencil. In her dream, she saw a great dark ocean of stars, and something rising from beneath it. Opening countless red eyes, it whispered to her gently, almost lovingly, Draw the way home, little one. Draw, and we will find the light again. Mia smiled in her sleep. And somewhere, far beyond the edge of known space, something ancient began to wake. For 3 days, Mia was kept under strict watch inside the embassy's lower wing. The humans called it protection. The Valorans called it containment. To Mia, it felt like a cage. The room was white and clean, with smooth walls and no windows. A gentle hum came from the machines around her bed. Always watching, always recording. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw shapes of red and black drifting through the dark. They whispered to her, calling her little dreamer. She didn't know what that meant. But every morning when she woke up, there was a new drawing on her sketchbook, one she didn't remember making. Ambassador Threx stood in the control chamber above, staring down through the glass. His eyes were tired, his once perfect armor wrinkled and dim. He had not left the embassy since the night of the experiment. The words the child had spoken, "You left us in the dark," echoed in his head like a curse. Ambassador, Commander Silen said softly, stepping beside him. The council demands an answer. What do we tell them? Threx's gaze stayed fixed on the girl below. Tell them the truth, he said quietly. The past is awake. Silen's voice trembled. Some of the council believe we should end it before it spreads. The child's death could sever the link. Threx's hand tightened. You will not speak of killing a child again, Commander. She's not just a child, Silen hissed.
She is a voice for the Sigroth.
What if they find us through her? Threx turned, his tone sharp. Then we will face them with honor, not with the blood of an innocent on our hands. Meanwhile, Dr. Elaine Carter had not slept either. She sat beside her daughter's bed, clutching her hand. Sweetheart, she whispered, you have to stop drawing those things. Mia looked up, confused. But Mom, they're not things. They're people. Elaine froze. What people? The ones in the dark, Mia said softly. They show me stars. They want to go home. Her small voice trembled, but her eyes were calm. Too calm for a child. Do they tell you where home is? Elaine asked. Mia nodded. She reached for her notebook and turned it toward her mother. It was a map, dozens of circles and stars, connected by faint lines. And at the center, a spiral marked with strange red symbols. Elaine didn't recognize the pattern, but she saw numbers, coordinates, and distances written in neat, perfect order and far beyond what a 7-year-old could imagine. "What is this, Mia?" "The way back," the girl said. Alarms sounded across the chamber as the Valoran scanners picked up the symbols. Threx and his guards rushed in, their armor glowing with alert lights. "Where did she get those coordinates?" Threx demanded. Elaine backed away. "She just drew them. I swear, she doesn't understand what she's doing." Threx leaned closer to the notebook. His heart dropped. The map pointed to a single location, a dead system, near the edge of the galaxy. Riven's End, the same place where the Valorans had sealed the Seagroth 12,000 cycles ago. "They're not guessing," he whispered. "They remember." Hours later, in the upper chamber, the Valoran High Council appeared as shimmering holograms, tall, proud, and furious. "You promised us safety, Threx," one of them hissed. "And now a human child calls to our oldest nightmare?" Threx bowed his head. "It is not her fault. She is being used, a bridge between minds," another counselor's voice thundered. "Then close the bridge. Destroy it!" Threx looked up sharply. "You speak of murder. I speak of survival," the counselor replied coldly. "If the Seagroth are alive, they will not forgive. You know what they did last time?" Threx's hands curled into fists. "We destroyed their world, burned their sons. And you expect forgiveness? Do not twist the past." The counselor barked. "We ended a plague. We saved the stars." But Threx's voice was low and grim. "Perhaps we only delayed it." Back in the chamber, Mia began to draw again, not of monsters but of shapes like ships and weapons. Her pencil moved fast as if guided by invisible hands. She whispered as she drew, "They remember the blue ones. They are angry, but they are waiting." The guards watched nervously. "Ambassador, her pulse is rising," one said. "We should sedate her." "Not yet," Threx said. "Let her finish." When Mia lifted her hand, the page showed something that made every Valoran step back. It was not a map this time. It was an eye. A giant red eye surrounded by broken stars. Below it, in neat English letters, she had written, "We see you." A deep vibration filled the air. The lights flickered. Instruments began to fail. Silence shouted, "Energy surge. It's coming from the Riven's End system." Threx's face went pale. They heard her. At that exact moment, the map on Mia's drawing began to glow faintly red like a signal being sent. The lines between the stars shimmered as if alive. Mia dropped her pencil. Her voice was small and trembling. "They're awake now." Hours later, as dawn broke over the embassy, Threx stood on the balcony staring into the cold blue sky. Elaine came to stand beside him, her face hollow. "You said you'd protect her. What happens now?" Threx's eyes glowed faintly in the light. "Now we prepare." "For what?" she asked. He looked toward the stars. "For the return of those we tried to erase." And far across the galaxy, in the dead system once called Riven's End, a single red spark blinked in the dark. Then another. And another. The Seagroth were waking, and they remembered the blue-skinned ones who burned their world. The embassy no longer felt like a place of peace. It felt like a waiting storm. Guards now lined the halls. The human staff whispered in fear. The Valorans, usually calm and graceful, moved like people haunted by ghosts. And at the center of it all was a 7-year-old girl sitting on her bed with a pencil in her hand. Mia Carter. The little dreamer who had drawn the impossible. Ambassador Threx stood behind a glass wall staring at her. He had seen war before, seen entire planets burn, but never had he felt this kind of fear. This fear wasn't loud. It was quiet, deep and cold. Dr. Elaine Carter sat beside her daughter, whispering soft words, trying to calm her. But Mia's eyes were far away, lost in something only she could see. She didn't look like a child possessed by darkness. She looked like a child listening to something vast and patient and old. Threx's aide, Commander Silon, entered the room quietly. "Ambassador," he said, "the council demands an answer." "What do we tell them?" Threx didn't turn. "Tell them what they already fear." Silon frowned. "You think they still exist?" Threx's voice was steady but heavy. The Seagroth never die. They only wait. Inside the chamber, Mia's pencil began to move again, soft scratching on paper. She was drawing something new. Not monsters, not battlefields this time. Circles, lines, stars. Her mother leaned closer. "Sweetheart, what are you making?" Mia spoke without looking up. "They want me to show the way." Elaine frowned. "The way to what?" Mia didn't answer. Her pencil spun faster, crossing the page, connecting stars with perfect precision, like she had seen this map before. And when she stopped, everyone in the observation room froze. The map wasn't random. It was real. Every star matched a known coordinate in Valoran charts, and at the center was a name Threx knew too well: Riven's End. He rushed into the chamber, snatching the sketchbook before Mia could turn the page. "Where did you get this?" he demanded. Mia blinked up at him. "They showed me." "Who?" "The ones you left behind." Threx staggered back as if struck. The guards shifted nervously, unsure what to do. Dr. Carter rose to protect her daughter. "She's just a child. She doesn't understand." But Threx's voice was low, trembling with a truth he could no longer deny. "She understands more than any of us." Moments later, the Valoran High Council appeared as shimmering holograms around him. The air thickened with their disapproval. "Ambassador Threx," the eldest voice said coldly, "you were sent to build peace. Now your actions risk awakening an old war." Threx bowed his head. "I did not awaken it. The child did. The Seagroth found her mind before we ever knew she existed." "Then destroy the link," another counselor snapped. "Erase her. Now." Threx's head lifted sharply. "You speak of murder. I speak of survival." The voice roared. "Do you remember what they did to Valora Prime? To our moons?" "I do," Threx said quietly. "That is why I will not make the same mistake again." The counselor sneered. "You think your mercy will save you this time?" "No," Threx replied. "But perhaps it will save her." And with that, he ended the transmission. When he returned to the observation deck, the glass was fogged from inside. Mia was standing now, her eyes half closed, whispering. The room's temperature had dropped several degrees. Dr. Carter backed away, clutching her child's shoulder. "She's talking in her sleep again." "Record it," Threx ordered. The translator hummed, processing her voice. Then came the words. Soft, broken, but clear. "They see the blue lights. They remember the war. They are waiting where the sun died." The scientists exchanged terrified looks. "Ambassador," one said, "the coordinates match Riven's End exactly." Threx closed his eyes. "Then it's true. They never perished." An alert rang out. Valoran satellites had detected a faint energy pulse from the outer edge of the galaxy, in the very same system. Silen's voice shook as he read the data. "It's old tech. Older than us. But it's waking up." Threx turned to the window, staring at the night sky beyond Earth's clouds. "They heard her drawing," he whispered. Hours later, Threx visited the girl again. She was awake, doodling quietly, humming a strange melody. He sat across from her, his tall form filling the small room. "Mia," he said softly, "do you know what you've done?" She looked up with a shy smile. "I just helped them remember." "Remember what?" "Their home, their anger, their promise." Threx felt the weight of 12,000 years pressing on his chest. "Mia," he said gently, "if they come back, people will die. Many people." Her smile faded. She looked down at her drawing. "They don't want people to die," she said. "They just want to be seen." He frowned. "Seen?" Mia nodded. "You made them disappear. You erased their names, but they still remember yours." That night, as the city outside slept, a single Valoran probe entered the Riven's End system. Its cameras showed a wasteland of shattered moons and broken ships drifting in endless silence. Then, the darkness moved. Something vast and black turned slowly toward the lens. A structure, half living, half machine. And in the center, a single red light blinked once, twice, then stayed on. The probe's last transmission was one word: awakening. Back on Earth, Mia woke with a gasp, her eyes glowing faint silver. She whispered to the empty room. They found the light again. And outside her window, unseen by human eyes, a faint red shimmer passed across the stars. The Seagroth had heard their little dreamer. and now they were on their way home.